Alright, guys, so let's quickly take a look at the different economic or risk event trades or risk events, sorry, risk events that we have coming up for this week. So this week, actually, personally for me, we don't really have much. I mean, if we take a look at the economic calendar, if we take a look at the Excel sheet right here, which I actually modified and split into the different days. But if we take a look at this right here, on Monday, we are starting with the LPR, the loan prime rate for China, and on the back of the flurry of stimulus claims that we've been getting from the PBOC. So this is something that's definitely worth watching. I got out of my CN50 trade because it actually didn't react the way I was expecting it to last week. I mean, they came out and they did another stimulus package. I mean, close to 6 billion yuan, and after the pullback we had, I was expecting this to at least make a run to the upside, and especially because it affected the stock market, but we just didn't see that push. So I closed it. I don't want to mess with it for now, so I'm just going to keep monitoring it, especially since we've been seeing how it's been correlating to copper and also the AUD, which is the Aussie. So it's just something I would prefer to watch, not really want to trade that right now. So another or something very, very important that we have on Monday is the RBA Hausa. So Hausa is a part of the Reserve Bank of Australia committee. So it's something that I feel is going to be very, very important. I don't think we have any of them scheduled to speak for the rest of this week. So it's something that's also that I feel is going to be very important. So something definitely worth watching. And then for London session, we don't really have much. We have Fed Logan at 2:55 p.m. and we also have Fed Kashkari and Fed Smith all coming out for tomorrow's New York session to give their statements or to give their commentary. So it's also something worth watching. But it's a very typical Monday, very quiet, nothing really interesting. And then on Tuesday is where things actually start getting pretty interesting in terms of Fed speakers. So this week we have a lot of Fed speakers coming up. We're starting with Fed Dali very early on Tuesday, on that's around 12:40 a.m. Nigeria time. So it's something to watch out for. And then we also have the BOE Green and BOE Bailey. So Bank of England, Bailey hasn't spoken since I think 1st of October, when he came out and said, yes, if we do get the type of data that we want to see, if we do get bad data, then most likely we're going to be more activist on rate cuts. So personally, I do feel like we did get that data in terms of the CPI. CPI actually came out pretty bad, but basically the markets didn't really react to that as I would have expected. I mean, let's just take a look at the pound currency index chart. So this is the currency index chart for the pound. This was where he made the statement. I think this was beginning of October. Yeah, he made the statement, and then we immediately saw that rush to the downside. But markets quickly discounted that and started seeing strength again. And then it came again right here, weakness. But I think, yeah, this was last week when we had the weak CPI data. But you can see pound is literally still trading close to CPI levels. So it's something definitely worth watching. But personally for me, I'm not going to be trading the pound unless I have a catalyst for it. I just don't have any appetite buying the pound right now, be it technicals or even fundamentals, or sorry, be it technical entries. I just want to see something very punchy. And what do I mean by that? I want to hear Fed speakers coming out and saying dovish comments, and I want to see bad data for the UK. That's for the pound. Although we don't really have much pound or much UK data, but we have Bailey speaking on Tuesday at 3:25 p.m. So it's something definitely worth watching. And as always, we're going to have a lot of these comments coming out on the news feed in the terminal and also on the news terminal on Reuters that I have subscribed to. So we're closing the session with ECB Lagarde and also BOE Burden. So Tuesday, lots of Fed speakers. I don't think we even have any important economic data, but it's something definitely to watch out for because we haven't heard Bailey speak since earlier this month. So is something that might move the market in case we get any more dovish statements. And that's just what I'm going to be looking for. If we don't get anything dovish, if we get him tilting towards a restrictive stance, I'm not going to be trading the pound strength on the back of those. On the back of that, I want to see him say, okay, with this CPI data that we've had, most likely we're going to be focusing on cutting rates for now, and yeah, maybe focusing on the type of cuts that we want to get. But we're happy with the type of data that we're getting. I want him to tilt slightly dovish, something to give me a clear trade. Because weeks like this, you want to make sure you have very, very clear entries. You don't want to be stuck in consolidation and all that. And then for Wednesday, pretty boring as well. We don't really have anything interesting, but we do have existing home sales for the US. Not really, really interesting in my opinion, but at 2:45, we have the BOC rate decision. This is on the 23rd of October. So this is where things actually start to get interesting for the week. We have the BOC rate decision, and I'm going to just touch upon that real quick. So if we take a look at, let me start with the interest rate table right here. So we'll take a look at the interest rate table. Scroll down to, so this is BOC. For the 23rd of October, we have the BOC rate decision, and the market's 100% priced in for a cut, which is very close to a 50 basis point cut. It's not fully priced in, which means if we do get a 50, most likely we're going to be seeing downside on the card. But personally, for me, I do feel like the economy or the BOC wouldn't cut by 50. It's just it's just what I feel. Although they can act like the Feds and cut by 50, which means like markets were already literally fully priced in for a 50 basis point cut for, I think that was September, yeah. So they might act like the Fed and cut by 50 and then tilt towards a hawkish stance. But personally for me, I feel like with the data we've been getting, it just doesn't, I don't feel like it warrants that. I mean, just take a look at the CPI data that we had for the car. Let me pull it up right here. I think I have it on my journal. I'm sorry, guys. I think this should be it. Yes. So for the card, we had CPI, although we had the headline coming out lower than the forecast and also lower than the prior. But if we take a look at the BOC preferred core CPI, which is what they mostly focus on, which is an average of the trim, the median and the common, we saw this ticking up to 2.3. So it's still above their target of a 2% inflation goal. Although we saw headline tilt down and also the headline month over month and headline year over year, but we saw the core increase and also the BOC preferred core CPI increase. So it's just something that I feel like, yes, they might come out and say, okay, the economy is still doing fine, but we're going to cut by 25 because the bank is literally already fully priced in for a cut. So most likely, I do feel like if we get to 25, then that's going to be seen as hawkish. The reason is because markets are already fully priced in for the 25 and almost fully priced in for another 25, which means 50 basis point cut come on the 23rd, and that should be Wednesday. Yeah, markets are already almost fully priced in for a 50 basis point cut. So either way, if we get a 50 downside and if we get a 25 upside, the reason is because, like I said, markets fully priced in for a 25 and extra. So if we just get a 25, that's going to be seen as a very, very, very big surprise to the market, which is the scenario that I'm going to be looking for. Even when I prepare the trade plan, that's just going to be my preference. And the reason is because of how CAD has been trading. I mean, just take a look at this. I did actually catch this one. This was a mean reversion trade, and I'm going to be talking about that on an educational video I'm going to be making shortly on the mean reversion. But if you take a look at this USD CAD, it has been pushing to the upside from beginning of October, where we started seeing good data for the dollar, and this would be a very good trade. Should they cut by just 25 basis points, it's going to be a very good trade to take to the downside. I mean, just take a look at this right here. It's very sexy to take shorts on. Stuff like this or trades like this, you don't want to just be shorting it because it's fully or because it looks stretched to the upside. You want to make sure you have a catalyst. And CPI didn't do it for CAD, so most likely the rate decision might be what's going to do it. Should we get a 25 basis point cut? And yeah, that is what I'm going to be looking for Wednesday on the back of the card on the back of the card rate decision. Then if we move to Thursday obviously we have claims data, and we also have the flurry of, like, we also have a lot of flash PMI data coming out at this should be at 2:45. It should be at 2:45 Nigerian time. We have the S&P flash, the manufacturing, the services, and the composite, and then we also have the new home sales as well. Then for London session is also we also have the flash PMI for the euro. Most times, or mostly, we tend to see markets focus on the France and the Germany. We don't really see much reactions from the eurozone, because obviously when we see when we get the flash PMI for France and Germany, then most likely we usually know what's going to come out as. We usually know what the eurozone PMI is going to come out as. So that's what we're going to be focusing on: the France and the Germany PMI data. And then we are closing the week with nothing really important. We are just the US Michigan sentiment final for the US. And yeah, that's just it for this week. And this week is actually going to be boring in my opinion. So most likely I'm not going to be forcing trades. I'm just going to be looking for very clear technical entries, mean reversion trades, and also, yeah, Fed speakers. Hopefully we get something good from them. Hopefully we get something tradable from them. We want to see them either tilting dovish or hawkish, whichever the case may be. But most likely, I'm going to be hoping for Bailey to say something dovish to make me want to pull the trigger on those Euro GBP longs, or yeah, GBP USD buys. GBP USD shorts, and yeah. So that's all I got for the week ahead, guys. And as always, if you have any questions, please just let me know.